Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the War Room. We got Dev, Kill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the Hot Block Commander. How you wanna end a 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level? Bold with the topic, sorta like the rebels. When it's game time, they like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4 for 26, so the war in Kuwait. It's the War Room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys diversified and educated.
Yo, 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 what's good, people? You are once again live in the War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports on War Room Sports Podcast Network. I'm one of your hosts, Jimmy the Blueprint Williams, and I'm here with my brother B. Austin. Listen, all I want to say is keep it locked right here. We're going to talk some NFL, some NBA, some ratchetness, some righteousness, some going on in the street, what's going on in the tweets. We're going to talk about all that stuff. But all I want to tell you is make sure you, stay in lock with us. And also sign in right now at the JW Philly Realty chat room. That's at blogtalkradio.com/warroom. Or you could join us Facebook, Twitter, IG, Farm Only, anywhere. It's at War Room Sports. You can also call us directly in about minutes after we gamble with Gus real quick. You know what I'm saying? You can do that on the Digital Extreme Technologies hotline. That number is 323-410-0012. Before we get started, make sure that during the week, we're not live. You can check out everything, all of our podcasts. You can find our podcasts as well as podcasts from our podcast network right at our hub, which is known as warroomsports.com. You can also check out the War Room Sports mobile app. You can find that on all the platforms. You can check us on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spreaker, Blog Talk, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Break, Anchor, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Thoughtcast. Anywhere that you listen to podcasts, you can find us. What's going on, good brother? B. Austin, how are you, man?
Man, everything is copacetic. Everything is copacetic. We got football, we got baseball, we got basketball. It's like I'm fronting because I'm not watching no goddamn baseball, but we got the things we love. We got the things that we love, man.
Yeah.
It was a grand time of year. Oh, and we got soccer.
You out here enjoying how life's supposed to treat you, huh?
You're under dig?
Yeah. But listen, though, we want to get Gus on as soon as possible because I know our people out there that are gambling, they want to know what's popping, so we're going to get to that. We're going to do that as part of our Hot Topic segment. And listen, man, you know who it's brought to you by, MyBookie. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about how you can make some bread betting at MyBookie. NFL is in full swing, and Gus Griffin is about to give you some gems so you can know what to do in Week 6. So if you still haven't yet checked out MyBookie, this is the perfect time to check them out. Lay down some cash in the biggest game in sports. You can join the War Room and thousands of other online players placing bets at mybookie.ag. You're tired of getting a runaround from other sources when it's time for a payout? Don't worry about it. That's why we urge you to join MyBookie. You win, they pay fast and without any hassles. You're wasting your time sports betting anywhere else. They even have in-game live bets you can place wagers after the game starts. Listen, if you join right now, MyBookie will match your deposit up to $1,000, one stack. You dig? Just use the promo code WARROOM. That's WARROOM. You know, for those that, don't know how to spell, you can activate this offer. Go to mybookie.ag. Remember, the promo code is WARROOM, WARROOM. Just go ahead. Win, get paid, period. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm about to bring on Gus real quick before we move on. You know what I mean? What did he do last week? 2-2 last week, about 12 for 8 for the year. You know what I'm saying? Let's see who he has this weekend, man. Let's see what's going on with Gus, man.
Yo, man, he's above 500. I'm gonna have to stop talking my ish pretty soon.
Yo, Gus, what's really good?
How y'all doing?
Oh man, we complain. Ain't nobody listening. We fair and partner cloud. How are you?
We above 500 too. Everybody above 500.
You know what I mean? We're above 500, Gus. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So let me
had a little.
man. We had. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I took the Nats and Appalachian State last night in a 2-pick upset special. Got me a 4-1 return, so house money for the weekend.
Okay. Nice. Don't spend it all on one place, man. Listen, heading into week 6, let's see what are you looking at this weekend? What should we be looking at?
I got a lot of things I like. The first one I like is we got the Panthers are 2.5-point spreads over the Buccaneers. That's the game that's in London. What struck me about this is basically last week, the Bears, the first half looked like they were sleepwalking, literally. And they woke up and took the lead, and then but by that time the Raiders had some confidence they were to finish the job. Then I found out the Raiders left directly from Indianapolis on Monday to go over to the other side of the pond. The Bears didn't arrive until Friday. Now, I was in Ireland about a year ago at an education conference for black males, and it takes about 36 to 48 hours to adjust. And so that kind of explained a lot to me. The Panthers, they landed today. The Buccaneers aren't going to touch down until tomorrow, and the Bucs aren't even on a neutral ground. I don't know that the Bucs are good enough to sweep anyone. I'm taking the Panthers minus the 2.5, and they're hot.
Yeah, man, that Buccaneers secondary. The Buccaneers secondary is suspect.
Some of our listeners won't catch this, but I want to point something out. Totally unrelated to sports, but there was a Black Educators Conference in Ireland.
International Conference of Black International Education on Black Males. It was in Toronto the year before. It was in the Bahamas the prior year. In Toronto, in Dublin, Ireland last year, and it has to do with the history of Frederick Douglass over there when he was on his tours. It's actually in Milwaukee this year.
I got you. I like you the way you made that connection because I can understand Toronto because I've been to Caribana, so I understand. And I can understand the Bahamas. Naturally, the spaceship stopped there first. But Ireland, I just didn't get the connection. Totally unrelated to gambling, so I apologize to our listeners that tune in. It's like, no, I don't. I don't apologize. It's my show. Thank you, though.
Yeah, but, shout out to Toronto because me and B. Austin was in Toronto a couple of years ago, and they showed us love. So shout out to Toronto.
They love in Toronto. Down with OVO.
Panthers getting Panthers minus 2.5. Excuse me. Okay, that's interesting. I like that too because that Buccaneers secondary is kind of suspect. And like you said, the Panthers are on a roll. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, because I got Christian McCaffrey on my fantasy team, that I hope you're right. Hope he scores about 4 or 5 times. But that's either here nor there. What else you got for us? What other thing you got for us?
Okay, got the Bengals plus 11.5. The Ravens haven't covered since the first week of the year. I think the odds makers are exploiting investors, and I use the word investors, not bettors. They're exploiting investors' overreaction to what the Ravens did to the Dolphins. The Ravens have trouble within the division. Even when they've won the division over the years, they've never been dominant wins. They had trouble. Of course, the Browns gave them the business. They had trouble with my Steelers last week. Probably should have lost that game. The Bengals obviously aren't. They're not good, but they're not Miami bad. I think we're seeing how much A.J. Green has been propping up Andy Dalton. But 11.5 points in a division game is a lot. I'm taking the Bengals.
That is a lot of points. That's a lot of points. 11.5 in a division game?
Division game.
I mean,
a desperate team
that hasn't won
a game.
Are the Bengals that bad?
That's the whole point. That's the whole point. I think you go with the Bengals on that one.
Okay. All right. I see that. Bengals plus 11.5. What else you got for us, guys?
Texans plus 4.5. This is a counterintuitive one. If you see, Deshaun Watson's a special player, and the scary thing is he could actually probably get better. 5 touchdown passes, threw for over 400 yards. They put over 55 points. Yes, it was against the Falcons. I think that the instinct would be to try to, okay, we got the firepower. We can score with the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. But I think the coach showed you the blueprint for beating. I don't think trying to outscore the Chiefs is a wise game plan, even for that. I think the coach showed you a game plan. They ran 45 times for 180 yards. Unfortunately, they only passed 29 times. Unfortunately, I gave up on Mac on my fantasy team, and he bust out. But at any rate, I think the Texans, if they go by that Colt game plan, that they can stay within that 4.5, have a chance to win. They certainly got the firepower to score, but I think the best way against the Chiefs is to try to keep Mahomes on the sidelines. That's what the Colts did. I'm taking the Texans plus 4.5.
Those are all great points. The question I have for you is, do the Texans have the personnel to do that? To me, watching that game, it's sort of like, I always say in boxing how styles make fights, and the Colts have personnel. Their offensive line was mauling the Chiefs. I mean, do the Texans have that personnel to do that?
Well, that's the question. That's a legitimate question. They did. I think they have the commitment. They handed the ball off to Hyde 21 times. He didn't get a great average, but they did make an honest attempt to run the ball. The other backs got better averages. So again, it's a counterintuitive pick, but I'm going to go with that one.
Okay. All right. Just wondering, what you thought about that. But Texans plus 4.5. Okay. So what else we got?
Got the Niners, Rams over 50.5. I think this is a shootout. The Niners are healthy, got a lot of firepower. They're playing well. The Rams, kind of hit a little skid. I think we've seen now the Ram defense that looked pretty good early in the year. We're seeing it's looking more like it looked most of last year, in spite of the great Aaron Donald. So I think it's going to be a shootout. Rams, Niners over 50.5.
Gus, we love you. We love you. We love you and respect you, brother. But I've analyzed that Niners defense. The Rams can't put up enough points on them to get to 50, man.
Well, we'll see.
Well, no, but can the Niners put up? All they have to put up is what? 25. Each team put up 25.
27-24 game does it? A 27-24 game.
Yeah, 27-24.
You're right.
Either way,
you're right.
Yeah, that's all you need. So okay, over the 50.5. And then we have, let me see what we have. It's a couple games I know you had some thoughts about. So
that's one. Got three more. Tennessee, Denver under 40. Tennessee has a very good press corner. They're probably deeper at corner than anyone in the league. Joe Flacco isn't going to run for anything, so I think that they're going to be able to reasonably hold them down. We don't have. Either team doesn't have a dynamic passing attack. I think they're going to try to both have the same game plan, and they're going to shorten the possessions. Tennessee, Denver under 40.5. The last two, Titans plus 2. I think the Titans are going to win the game. Again, I think it's for a lot of the same reasons, that press corner coverage of theirs. And the Eagles plus 3, and the analysis there is very simple. Kirk Cousins. That's all I need to really say in my mind. My two upsets by the line, Titans over the Broncos, they're 2-point underdog, and the Eagles over the Vikings, they're 3-point underdogs.
Got you. All right, here's my thing, right? So I heard what you said about the Titans and their press defense. So does it make sense? And this is not really gambling related, it's really fantasy related, but I have to make this decision about my third receiver every week. In terms of starting Sutton, who plays for the Broncos, who has been hot as of lately. Can't lie. He's definitely been hot, but it's always either him or Edelman. So I go with Edelman tonight, and Edelman's not 100%. They play the Giants.
That's your choice, him or Edelman.
Edelman,
I think matchup.
Edelman or this is Sutton. So, Edelman is Sutton, but Sutton's been hot.
I think matchup-wise, it's Edelman, but hey, let's say the guy I beat last week in fantasy, he left over 60 points on the bench, and it wasn't obvious choices. It was guys, wow, that guy all of a sudden had 25 points. That guy had 30. It was like So we can go by the matchups, but at the end of the day, X percentage of fantasy is just luck.
Oh, I agree with you. Listen, I won more championships in my league than anybody, and I'm the first person. It's funny in me saying that because I think it's all luck. Because it really. It's about timing. It's about timing.
No rhyme or reason.
Well, you can make an educated guess. You can make an educated guess, but again,
you make
you can still wrong. I let go of Mac. And he's a feature back. I probably should have kept him, but hey, what can you say? I kept Fournette, and he finally is starting to deliver for me. So, again, you can make educated guesses, but at the end of the day, they are guesses.
That's exactly what it is. But Gus, man, listen, thank you for your time. We got the Panthers minus 2.5, Bengals plus 11.5, Texans plus 4.5, Niners and Rams over 50.5, Titans plus 2, Eagles plus 3. You got the Titans and the Eagles both winning an upset. So those are your picks this week. We appreciate it, and look forward to hearing from you next week.
Gus, before we let you go, are you gonna let Jimmy slide?
Well,
you gonna let Jimmy slide on his choice of running back? Based on what you know of the brother. No, running back.
Christian McCaffrey.
You gonna let him slide? Of course.
Christian versus who? Well, it doesn't really matter. You got to go with Christian if he's healthy, unless he's just.
Listen, man, be awesome. And not only is he my running back, I picked him at number 2 or 3. I forgot what I was in the draft. Like, what are you talking about, man?
No, 75% of Christian McCaffrey is better than most guys right now.
Gus, I'm being facetious. Jimmy knows me, so he knows why I'm being.
You really want to ask me about is he the best white running back we've ever seen, right?
There you go.
I know what he's really saying. I'm gonna listen. He's been cooking for me this season, so I'm gonna let that go. Go.
Yeah, you got to stay with him.
Yeah, but Gus, man, listen, we appreciate you, man, as always, man. Thank you for your time, man, and we look forward to seeing how these picks work out. These investment plays, and we'll look talk to you next week.
Okay, one last thing. Next column is going to be on football and imperialism. Football and imperialism. Hope to get it out to you by the end of the week.
Speaking of McCaffrey,
we look forward to it.
There you go. Great segue.
All right, Gus, but we'll take it easy.
All right.
All right, peace. Yeah, man. So those were his picks of the week. I can't wait to read that article. I gotta see how he draws this correlation right here, man.
Promote that all over the world.
Listen, man, be awesome. I gotta hear. It's time for you to put your educated brother from the bank hat on, man. I want to hear your true thoughts on this. What's going on in the world of the National Basketball Association with Daryl Morey and his since-deleted tweet that he did on October 4th. I'm not sure how much of this story you read or how much you looked into this, but he shared an image on his Twitter account with a slogan that says "Fight for Freedom" and "Stand with Hong Kong." So, give a little context. A piece of legislation was introduced over the summer in Hong Kong, which proposed that the ability to extradite criminal suspects back to China, drop these suspects into a Chinese justice system, which pretty much convicts everybody. There are immediate concerns about, protesting the civil rights of citizens and prevent from their being targeted unfairly. So protests broke out everywhere, and I'm not sure what people know about politics across the world, but it got kind of it's nasty over there right now. So the nature of the bill inspired tons of government protests, and some of the demonstrations have turned violent. And they withdrew the bill, but that was only after protesters demanding that they formally did so. But it's real nasty over there now. And Daryl Morey had a tweet in China, in which the NBA is very, very, very popular. Specifically, the Houston Rockets, who Daryl Morey works for, are very popular because of the Yao Ming. And the NBA is making all kinds of bread over there. So not only is the NBA making all kinds of bread, the Rockets are making all kinds of bread. And because of the Rockets Association, James Harden makes millions of money in China on an annual basis, they say. But China had acted very, canceling games, appearances, all kinds of stuff. They stopped showing the NBA. Like, they pretty much,
they
put the murder game very, very fast, dude. Very fast.
Them around.
Yeah, they smacked them around. So I just want to hear your opinion on this whole situation because it's interesting. I heard a lot of different perspectives that Morey should have have to pay attention to what he tweets out. The NBA has historically been, let's put it this way, they've been perceived as the most progressive league. But it's okay to be progressive until you start, messing with their dollar cents. And,
I am
this
so
cool. The NBA.
Happy that we have an opportunity to peel the onion back on this particular topic because there's multiple perspectives, and that's what we do best here at the War Room. We bring you multiple perspectives. Whether you want to analyze the 10 crack commandments and how relevant it is to your life, years and years and miles away from the sale of that particular commodity, or you want to talk about, who has the best toots. I know the listeners right now are like, what are you talking about? But get your weight up, read the book, Sports, and you'll understand.
Vegas. So, Vegas probably. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I like Miami. So when we examine this, the first thing that the Black protectionist perspective in me is going to say is, Daryl Morey, did you speak up or did you tweet out when Amber Geyer was able to get a smack on the wrist? Considering that over 75% of your players in the league that your team is in are of African or Black descent or are Black. Did you stand up and take issue with some of the things going on in this country that impacted its citizenry? Are you this vocal about quote unquote Black issues or human rights issues where the U.S. is culpable? Are you adamant about standing up for the number of cities that don't have clean water or properly functioning infrastructure for its citizens? Are you this active, or did you decide to make this tweet because, as we know, and maybe our listeners aren't in the know, but we're in the know, Daryl Morey is the type of guy, he doesn't mind the spotlight being shown on him from time to time. He's not the type of executive that just wants to go quietly off into the night. He wants a little bit of credit for the things that he does. So I think that in this day and age of social media, that was a play that he knew would move the needle. He took a risk. But I'm interested in whether or not he's one of these people that are, quote unquote, socially conscious and a warrior for human rights, or whether he's trading on the impact and the needle move and the attention that, popular opinions that tie to social justice and social rights bring, right? Because it's cool, it's cool from time to time it becomes in vogue to stand up for disenfranchised or mistreated classes of people. But is that who you are, or were you just trying to get a needle move and it backfired? So that was the first thing that I thought. The second thing that I thought was, do you, and I'm sure you do, but I'll ask, do you know who holds the most public debt? Do you know who the number one debt owner is?
Well, yeah, China.
Oh, so that's, and I say that as it's a broader microcosm of what is reality. Like, so a lot of us don't necessarily pay attention to that, but he who invests in you is who you are actually answerable to. So even as you watch the 45th president posture and add tariffs to goods and services, the reality is the People's Republic of China, with 1.4 billion people and almost limitless resources and probably the second strongest economy to the U.S., maybe third, own the United States. They've got $1 trillion invested. $1 trillion. That's with a T, not a billion, not 100 billion. $1 trillion. That's 1,000 billion. Yo,
they got trillions and trillions of money.
Trillions and trillions of money. So I say that to say, going back to the NBA is so far in bed with China due to David Stern's policies prior to Adam Silver. There's, when China barks, the NBA has no choice but to listen. So the question becomes, what is more important to you, social justice or where your bread is buttered and where the money is coming from? And obviously we know the answer. The answer is the bag. These NBA players, never mind the Rockets, starting within the Jordan area from Nike, man, in the off season, these athletes run to China like nobody's business on the quiet. Like now it's popular because of social media, the world over, you see and you track what they're doing. But even before 2004, when Twitter and Facebook hit, prior to that, in the late 80s, NBA players have been going to China to get the bag because there's 1.4 billion people and 600 million of them watch TV, and at least half of them are sports fans participating in basketball. They love the NBA. NBA games are broadcast in China regardless of the team, just like they're broadcast here in the U.S. So cats will go to China, you know, unbeknownst to the 400 million people that live here, and they have more fans over there than here. So the NBA is embedded in China, and they have to answer to the Chinese marketplace just the same way the U.S. has to answer to the Chinese marketplace, because you can flex and you can make a lot of noise like a Daryl Morey and say you have an issue with human rights over there. The Chinese look back and they say two things. First of all, they say, we own you, so shut the F up. But secondly, they look at the U.S. the same way the rest of the world does. Who are you to discuss human rights when your law enforcement is legally allowed to murder certain protected classes of individual? Who are you to point at us about human rights when reparations for slavery was brought up in the UN? You guys, your delegation got up and walked out of the meeting, not once, not twice, but on multiple occasions. And by the way, this was not under Donald Trump's watch. This was most recently under President Obama. So the rest of the world kind of laughs when Americans take this position of being higher and mightier than thou with regards to their ethics and morals, because we're hypocrites. We're hypocrites. So that's my diatribe, brother. Let me get off the soapbox and let you rock, brother. But those were the vantage points that I examined.
No, that's what I was looking for. I wanted to see where you took it when you heard it, because I had those thoughts. I've been thinking about it for a while, because it kept popping up in the news, because they kept like dropping the hammer, like, oh, okay, so watch this, Lakers event canceled, watch this, TV canceled. Like, they were basically showing how much, you know, power they was messing up a lot of money.
Yo, Jimmy, real quick, while you rock, think about this. I know we have an idea what the TV contract is over here, but what is the television contract for NBA basketball worth in China, where there's 600 million eyeballs that have cable TV? I don't know what it is, but I'm just asking.
And shout out to Hank, because Hank was saying, like, could this become an issue with the Players Association? Like, yo, you messing up money for our players. Like, you know, how far will this one tweet, you know, will it cost him his job? Like, what will happen as a result of this? Because,
man, if it gets too real,
kind of contract money.
If it gets too real, man, the Rockets will send Daryl Morey over there to do a year and a day, man. Keep it on.
Yo, go do some time in it. I've watched Locked Up Abroad. I don't think that's I don't think he want that. He don't want that smoke. Like, yo, go over there and do it. Go do this quick bid. You know what I mean?
Do some Fed time.
Yo.
Because everything in China is Fed time.
Yo, Daryl Morey might not come back, beloved. Like, they don't play them tight games, man. But I'm interested to see how this whole thing plays out. You know what I'm saying? So, man, it'll be interesting. But the crazy part is, when I read this, I was like, the Rockets of all teams, because that's like the worst. The Rockets of all teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, why the Rockets?
Yo, that is not the squad, because like you say, their relationship with China due to Yao Ming is different than every other team in the NBA. They have their logos and writing in Chinese here in the U.S. at certain times of the year. Like, if you had to dollarize the value of his mess up, where would you put that at? Like, how much money has he cost the NBA and the Rockets, bro?
That's interesting, right? So Otto Tobias is in the group chat. He said that He said it's kind of funny that China told LeBron and NBA to shut up and dribble, and that's what those players did. We ain't see a lot of nothing. They shut up and dribbled.
Get out of the fight! Talk your ear!
China is their daddy.
Yo, we gotta go deep, Jimmy. We gotta go deep, man. We gotta go. This is complete supposition, but y'all all know the answer. Yo,
hold on, real quick. Real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to bring this up before you make your point, because Tobias brought up another great point about the NBA. Because the NBA, I said, they're always seen as the most progressive. He said, but how can the NBA be so progressive when they allowed Donald to own the Clippers for all those years? Like, how progressive are they really?
Talk your ears! Yo, Tobias, I've been telling you for years, man, get your podcast weight up, man. Get your podcast weight up, bro. Listen. And I'm going to take it back here again. We'll leave the NBA, but we'll acknowledge it's a microcosm of American society, right? Which really breaks down to there is no culture in America and everything's for sale, but that's another topic for another day. You only think that there's culture here. So if 4 Chinese American young men were murdered by law enforcement, what do you think the response would be of the country, the People's Republic of China, Hong Kong, and the UN on American affairs? What do you think that response would be?
Big point.
if Chinese American young men and women were suffering from police brutality in their communities, what do you think the response would be of the country of China?
It'd be problematic. It would be problematic. Like, but that's the thing, though. That's the thing about, like, culture tying people together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why a lot of people believe in order for us to succeed as, let's Africans in America, that part of the thing that we never look to, and part of the solution is to invest and build up the motherland. Because there was a gentleman
that tried, sir. He was in North Africa, and we will not speak his name, but salute to him.
Oh yeah.
And Hillary, yo, she roofed him immediately, got him right up out of it.
Yeah.
They're gonna get Akon. They're gonna get Akon next, but you didn't hear that from me. But go ahead, man. I cut you off.
Yeah. Yo. For those out there listening, man, protect Akon at all costs, man. Protect Akon and Acoin. Yo, we gotta protect him at all costs, beloved, because that's the thing. But a lot of people believe that. A lot of scholars, people you talk to, believe in order to have any sort of power here, you gotta have power home. And whether that's your,
I'm gonna go here. I know you're a well-read brother. Do you know that the concept of countries, like actual countries, didn't really exist on that continent until the 19th century and really didn't go into effect until the 20th century? Let that sink in.
Interesting.
The divisiveness of outside influence.
Yeah, we need to build up our continent. Let's put it that way. We need to build up the whole continent. I mean, we start with a country within the continent, but at the same time, that's where we need to invest our money. By the way, Ghana is giving out citizenship to people, who are part of the diaspora. You go to Ghana right now. Ghana got some flag.
Shout out to my wife and her family, and I am a dual citizen with acreage and land, so we could. But that's neither here nor there. Man, listen. I looked at what Daryl Morey said, and I took it and I analyzed it from so many different vantage points. And I just think it's really, really interesting, the repercussions and implications of those repercussions and how much weight and influence China really holds. And I sometimes feel like they allow the 45 to jump up and down and make his noise, because they know if they really wanted to flex, it would be a problem, man. It's just the same as if all of the Latino brothers and sisters say, yo, I'm done cutting grass. I'm done doing these menial. Yo, well, what would y'all do?
Well, listen, man.
Yo, look down.
Said nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, listen, man. Anywhere I'm at in the world, I'm talking about anywhere, on any continent, any country, any island. Yo, China's buying everything, and I'm not saying that like it's an actual fact. I mean, I go to Jamaica once a year, and they buying Jamaica crazy. When I was in Australia, and I'm looking at what's going on, they buying that. I was in Ireland, they was buying that. Like, I ain't even
gonna ask you where in West Africa you've been. We'll leave that for another topic. But you best believe, they're over in West Africa with a counter with a instrument that is set up to combat the World Bank and IMF, and they over there doing infrastructure projects heavy in West Africa. So, they know what their weight is and what they're worth.
That's why, like, even on it goes from like an international level to a national level to a local level. Even on a local level, I see like what they buy. As soon as the weather breaks, they're buying up all of our neighborhoods. Like, if you want to keep it local, and they don't even get involved in like some of the craziness that we do with politics, brutality, and all that kind of stuff. They just pretty much buy.
I'm not interested in politics, man, because they know their dollar is their vote. I'm cool.
I'll buy everything. I'm gonna buy everything, and I'm gonna buy. They people, Like, they buy people, but you know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man. Listen, we went off on a main tangent with this, man, but I know Tobias has been waiting for a minute. We gotta get Tobias on the line because he's been dropping bars. So here we gonna kind of fire. He gonna sit here and roll the Tobias.
Roll Tide. Hey, I'm glad the phone lines work. Good job, brothers.
It's shout out to paid our bills, man.
Hey, and shout out to Dev for pulling.
Shout out to our brother Dev out there. Management.
Hey, pulling Le'Veon Bell, skipping the show and taking pictures, gallivanting on the beach. Good job, Le'Veon, Devin.
Le'Veon Devin.
But I do want to bring up Ben Simmons real quick if I touch on this. I know everybody's going crazy about him shooting that three. The problem is the NBA is 2-3 obsessed. The kid would be deadly with just a 15 and 18-footer. That's how deadly he could be.
Tobias, on the low, what you just said is going to make his individual game better and his team game worse. Watch what I tell you.
Yes, because the problem is, plus my Dodgers are analytics team, they keep kind of hate Kershaw. But anyway, here's the thing. They talk about, like, the three-point shot. Look at Harden, for example. He's easy to guard one of the best teams because all he does is jack up threes and go to the hole. What about the fifth team Steph Curry and Klay Thompson does? People so obsessed with the analytics, but when it comes to rubber meeting the road, that's why Steph Curry and Klay and Kawhi, like, even the guys in Portland before they got swept, they take those not the analytic shots. So if Ben get the 15 to 18-footer, with his post-game, his passing ability, he would be deadlier than just jacking up threes, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I don't think you have to worry about his jacking up. He's not going to jack up threes. He's not going to go from shooting him at all to jacking him up. I mean, maybe 1-3. He's not.
And everybody going crazy.
I don't think you have to worry about that at all. I don't worry about that at all. They're going crazy because he didn't even attempt them in the past. But let me ask you a question though. I want to get your perspective on this. What do you feel about analytics overall? Because you seem to be always anti-analytics. I want to know, am I reading that wrong? Or
I'm a Dodger fan in baseball. See, I think like with baseball, it's a problem in a way because like last night, Walker Buehler not choke artist Kershaw, who couldn't get a beer league player out if it was the postseason. But anyway, the guy was going good. Damn damn all this whole he pitched this many pitches. Hey, it's win or go home. Let's put the spreadsheet down when it's time to win or go home. I believe analytics is good for regular season. When it comes to the postseason, it's time to man up. And I think that's what Houston's problem been.
Listen.
here's the part,
Analytics. What Tobias is saying, and you could correct me if I'm misquoting you or misdirecting my words. What Tobias is saying is analytics fails to acknowledge the context that the eye test and the gut gives you. It fails to acknowledge that, man. There's always context situational in a particular game.
Yeah, but just bringing a different perspective, and just as a disclaimer, in real life, one of the things I do analytics, but I do it from a real estate standpoint. So I study real estate analytics for a living, but I get both sides of the equation. But the one thing about analytics is this: it's statistics, and all it's doing is measuring the odds. So if that's got you there, that's what you have to continue to do. The fact of the matter is, everything regresses to the mean, and because of that, the more you'll always, it's never going to be perfect. Analytics can't be perfect. They're not meant to be perfect, and they never will be perfect. But the fact of the matter is, statistically speaking, let's say it this way. Let me say it that way. Statistically speaking, things usually regress to the mean, meaning that if this is what the data is showing you, this is what you do. Now, you also have to make sure that whatever model you use to give you this information is calibrated correctly and is putting the correct information in there. So the more data you have, the better chances you are of making a correct decision. So even with whole thing with Steph and Clay and all those things, Harden is still probably considered a more efficient player based upon statistics and analytics. What's going to separate Harden from them is the fact that Steph has a Clay and Clay has a Steph. James Harden don't have a Steph, or he don't have a Clay. So
he don't like sharing the ball.
It's easy to point to the analytics and say, he's not accomplishing what they're accomplishing. But Steph can point to Clay and say, hey, I have a Clay, and Clay can point to Steph and say, I have a Steph. And it's also easy to share the ball when you're not sharing the ball to a Clay, right? I remember Charles Barkley said people say I share the ball more. He said to who? Charles Shackelford? And his point was, it's easy to tell me to share the ball, but do you see who I got to share the ball with?
Yeah. 5 of 18 from 3-point range and 2 for 4 for 2. Take a jumper, Playboy. But anyway, y'all talk about.
Now the pressure's going to be on, but now he has rest. So those excuses, he really can't say, who am I going to share the ball with? So, like, CP3, they didn't get along, but now he has his buddy. They're boys, and, they're walking around, looking sus. So they're going to, try to outdress each other every game. So
try and wear women's clothing and more pants. Roll short stuff.
Houston is going to be.
You know what, though? I'll say this, and y'all talk about the NBA thing, right? I also put down in there that the NBA is so progressive, how come Craig Hodges and Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf got blackballed? If the NBA is so aggressive because of free speech, and you're right. When it comes to that, the NBA was the one that had a rule saying you got to stand for the flag. But no one wants to talk about that. And see, here's the thing, right? My thing is,
that's a great
I understand.
He's also the king of marketing.
Joel is. And, hey, like Phil Maddox said, I don't blame him for not saying nothing in the country. you get the hell out the country first. Then you can say what you want. But here's the problem. Now, I'm not as educated on that, what's going on over there. Because I ain't going to lie, my priorities happen to black people here in this country. And if the NBA is so progressive. Now, I ain't talking about wearing the T-shirt that doesn't challenge white supremacy, because all you're doing is saying, hey, let's be equal. That ain't challenging white supremacy. You ain't doing that. But the thing what people got to understand is the NBA is not progressive. If they were so progressive, same year, a black man, I think his name was Keith Scott, was an unarmed black man killed by police from the NBA then. And that's an All-Star game happened that same season.
The perception of the NBA is that they're progressive. That's always the perception when it comes to the major leagues. But the fact of the matter is, none of the leagues are progressive because they can't be progressive because they're a business, and businesses have to be progressive.
Bingo.
When you have a business, your objective as a business, not to sound all Milton Friedman. I'm not trying to sound like Milton Friedman, but you answer to shareholders. There was a gentleman the other day, right? I was watching CNBC, and it was, I forgot what it was, one of the pharmaceutical companies, and their CEO was on there, and they were going off because they were saying, like, people are using your drugs for this, your drugs cost too much this. And he said, listen, I hear what you're saying, but I don't answer to our customer. I don't answer to you. I answer to shareholders because I run a business. And they were taken aback by that. And I'm like, why are they taken aback by that? That's how things work.
Because there's so few people in this country understand business from the other side of the table. This is a consumerist culture. So everybody's a consumer. So as a consumer, you're driven by emotion, right? Emotion leads you to spend money. If you're sad, go buy something. If you're happy, go buy something. If you're depressed, go buy something. And that emotion is what you think with. So when my man answers, look, I answer the shareholder, that's so foreign to them. It's as if he started speaking Swahili, period. Because people don't understand business.
I'm amazed, right? I'm amazed at how many people still believe in big organizations. I'm going to say big organizations. I'm going to tie in professional, like sports leagues, colleges, government, big business.
As if those big organizations have morals, right? As if they stand for something moral.
But I'm still shocked.
The morals are
how many people actually believe in them. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy.
It is, but they do that to comfort themselves. Let me also say this. The NBA does a good job of telling a story. As Jimmy said, marketing, they do a good job of telling a story that shows rich, young black men, right? Even more so than the NFL, not because the players' associations are weak versus strong, it's because of a thing called helmet head, right? We don't know or relate to NFL players the same way we know and relate to NBA players, and you associate being some semblance of wealth with NBA players. So that story is trumpeted as if that means progressive. That's trumpeted. Like, oh, we're progressive. We create more rich young black men, and that can be leveraged in that dialogue and pushing that narrative.
You know what else also? Y'all talking about that. Good point, B. Austin. The thing is also, people don't get about the NBA. We got to be honest about this. They have the same issues with black men, and I just say men because males and all that good stuff. Before the PC police come after me, you still have an issue with black. I think the NBA having black general managers that make our decision makers. You don't see that many of those, but no one talks about that. The NFL has, but I think they got a couple out there, even though the ones in Miami may not be around that long. Shout out to A Hard Knock Life, but I look at it like this. I'm talking about our community, for example. Professional athletes are high-priced employees. We have to stop looking at employees to fight our battle. I'm talking about entertainers, that is, because they're beholden to that buck. Most of them don't have LeBron's money. I know, like, my lady used to talk about, well, what about the average person? I said the problem with our community is we only listen to the celebrities in most part. It's like I could say, because LeBron, I'm not picking on him using him because he has a big name. He has more of a reach than someone like us because of celebrity worship in this country.
No, but that's part of it. But right, but the thing is, people have to work in conjunction because celebrities do get attention. They have the ability to draw attention, and even though you can say they're employees, but they also have leverage and they also have means. The fact of the matter is, do they care to make a difference? We've seen in the past athletes make a difference. I mean, I've read the history. I've seen what Lou Alcindor did of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I've seen what Bill Russell was able to accomplish, Muhammad Ali. But the fact of the matter is, they grew up in a different climate, right? When you
less money also than the guys that today.
Exactly. So it wasn't the same, right? And they didn't grow up with iPhones and Air Jordans, right? So it's a whole different climate. So it has to be attacked. You can't use strategies from back then to attack a problem, even though it's the same problem that exists now. You can learn from it and use those strategies and add to it. But the fact of the matter is, these athletes, do they actually want to make a difference? Because a lot of them don't care. They don't care about community. They care about self. They practice rugged individualism. And because they practice rugged individualism, what we're saying doesn't even matter to them.
Jimmy, they are conditioned. White people get these kids early. They condition them with that individuality. You know how the star athletes always get sheltered? They get sheltered. They get taken away. Because I remember something, right? And Kuhn Locke and some of these other people getting on Kaepernick, right? Even though I do think it's time for him to speak, they were like, well, he went that way till he met Nessa, his girlfriend. Like that was a bad thing for the woman you love to make you a better man. You think about things. And
Listen,
so
man,
just think
it's
about
funny.
those things.
That's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. It's funny because I tell Dev this all the time. I always tell Dev in 2019, Detroit Red would have never been able to become Malcolm X. They would have never allowed it. They've been holding him to a different standard. They would have said, "Oh, he ain't changed until Elijah Muhammad." Like they would have hit him with that. That's basically what you're saying. People have to be allowed to grow. You know, speaking of Ali, he says if you're the same person at 50 you were at 20, you just wasted 30 years of your life. You dig what I'm saying? So,
we all
the
grown.
fact of the matter is,
you're
supposed to grow.
Yeah, and Jimmy, to be honest, I'll say these two things. I lived overseas, and many people may not know this. I'm an Air Force veteran, and I've been employed overseas to the Middle East a couple of times. Those people, they think America made things worse. They'll talk to the brothers. They hate white people, but they'll talk to the brothers.
Of course,
you know. But they like, hey, whoever it was, say Saddam, for example, may not have been perfect, but they want to be left alone. Just like the Chinese people don't want to be left alone. And the one advantage today's athletes have is have the money now to come together to probably back politicians, to create some kind of institution where you can give, like LeBron's doing his people they creating, and hopefully his people are creating, is that they have the finances now.
But that's the issue. The issue is because they have the issue,
they
have the money. Exactly. I tell you, like, and it's easy to point to this, but the fact of the matter is, go up and down your block. Most black people practice rugged individualism. It's easy to point to the celebrity, but 90% of my family feel the same way as celebrity. They might make $80,000 a year and they don't want to deal with you with their own people. You dig what I'm saying? So
white people
it's easy to point to the celebrities, but listen, it's easy to point to them, but the black bourgeoisie is a real thing. That is a real thing. So you can point to the celebrities all day long.
That pathology, that pathology in our community has never really been addressed, and it lends itself. I was having a conversation today when it lends itself to a form of self-hatred. It's not even, you ask the person, do you hate yourself? Of course they would say, hell no, but we hold our own people to a higher standard than we hold others to because we're quick to indict us and we're not aware of other narratives, right? So I had a conversation with a young man today who was looking directly at the Asian cultural model for business, right? Cooperative economics and all of those things that we chat about, right, Jimmy? And so they were saying, why don't we do that? See, we're failure because we don't do that, or we haven't. And so what I had to do was list out not all, but a number of examples where we have practiced cooperative economics in communities throughout the U.S., but the majority of black folks have never heard of that. They've never heard of those examples because that narrative has been suppressed, right? So then we come back to why we are practicing rugged individualism. It's because we don't see the value in us as a collective. We see it in being an individual. I can make it and elevate to this, but I don't want to bring the rest of these niggas along, man. You get on my nerve. I can do it by myself. I'm the exception.
But that's why I never get on the whole bandwagon of these celebrities got to do this and they got to do that, because I used to say that. Then I had to take a step back, right? And I look at my own circle, right, and look at my family, people that live on my block and all these kind of things. And I'm like, yo, y'all all feel that way. Y'all feel that way, and y'all not a celebrity. So, it really comes down to you have to be able to do it yourself. A lot of times the first thing I do before I complain about somebody is I ask myself, I'm doing what I need to do. You dig what I'm saying? Talking about as an individual, and then work outward. So I say that to say, man, it ain't about LeBron. It ain't about KD. Like, what's going on your block? You dig what I'm saying? And because it's a deep issue, and you know, we have been conditioned. All of us have been conditioned. I consider myself to be, I don't want to use the term woke because I hate the term woke, but someone, you know, a conscious brother. And I caught myself last week, right? I was telling my wife, I was like, I use the service, you know, I try to support as many black-owned businesses as possible. And I went to a black business, and I got an amazing service, amazing product, and all that. And I was like, yo, I was not that I was in shock, but it was so good that I was like, I don't gonna lie, I was a little in shock. And then it hit me like, why am I in shock that I got great? I'm supposed to get service from a business, whether it's black, white, or whatever. When you pay your money, you're supposed to get good service. But I'm so conditioned, even as someone who's quote unquote woke, that a little bit of me still was like, yo, I can't believe I had service like that. You dig what I'm saying?
You know what? You know,
like,
here's the thing.
Sometimes you catch yourself like, yo.
Yep. And we had, and you're right about conditioning. Cause like, I found a black-owned wing spot out here. It takes like 35 minutes to get there. But I still shoot by there, you know, giving the money. Because I remember like this Asian lady on my Facebook page. She's owned a lot of restaurants in the D.C. area. Yes, in D.C. So y'all live that black people, you probably got kicked out by her. But anyway, gentrification. but I was asking her because I remember I got hit up by a financial advisor, worked for Edward Jones, but I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to be a big black guy knocking on doors. But she was like, yeah, we don't have outsiders come in and handle our money or our issues. And I think one thing is, I'm not saying their culture is golden, but I think the problem is also is that we don't want us. We always look to everybody else for everything, solving issues. We're so inclusive.
But that goes to that inferiority complex that is a part of the pathology in American culture and its impact and effect on black people, like athletes, celebrities, and us. We don't believe that we are capable of solving, serving, and helping ourselves. There's got to be someone else that can do it for us because we have not seen, as an example, us working together cooperatively, economically, socially, academically, and it works out. Now, and the examples of that happening are subverted. They are hidden. So the narrative is perpetuated that we do need someone else's culture in order for it to work. Man, look at them over there. Look at them over there, man. They do this. And why can't we do it? And it's that crab in a barrel mentality. But I always flip that when used and say, listen, a crab's natural habitat is not in a barrel. So why are you even mad? You should be mad at being in the barrel.
Who put the barrel there?
Crab in the barrel.
How'd the crab get in the barrel?
And who had a fork in their head though? Go ahead, Jimmy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's even deeper than that because when you start talking about a culture or something that ties us together, most of our culture was robbed from us. Now, we have a new culture here in America, but a lot of us don't even we try to act as if because there is a culture, it's an African-American culture in America, but a lot of us act like it is one. But if you talk about a culture that would tie us all together, a lot of that has been robbed from us, right? So when I talk to people who come from other countries, a lot of times they have cultures that tie them together. They actually have a home they can go to. They can go back to Ireland and be proud of that flag and go back. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a deep conversation. And I don't know how we got so far into this conversation from talking about analytics and James Harden.
Daryl Morey.
I appreciate
Shout out to Daryl Morey, man.
But
Shout out to Daryl Morey, man.
Hey, I know you guys got to run, but I'll say this. There's a reason that they'll allow the LeBron James and James Hardens of the world to be rich, but there's a reason they don't want you owning orange field, chicken farms, and all that good stuff because it's hard to pass entertainment in your DNA down as being an athlete, but you can pass down that orange grove. Oh, and by the way, I'll say this. I watch Hell's Kitchen reruns, and one of the guests that Gordon Ramsay had were the two brothers CEOs of Omaha Steaks. But they were fifth generation CEOs of that company. Imagine black people had fifth generation of businesses that we had, like Jack Daniels. what we could have done.
Man,
we could have had a group economic if we had it. If we had it at the beginning, and we didn't get it robbed.
To that point, Tobias, I met a gentleman 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about investments in stock, and the brother had stock, literally that his grandfather passed down to his father that he now owns. Just in having a conversation. Okay. When he was telling me that, it hit me like, yo, my father knew nothing about the actual markets or ownership of a corporation. It hit me like what you just said. I was like, damn, like
my family didn't know what a stock was before me.
Yo, same here, B. Austin. But what I'm saying is, in that conversation, I got like angry because it hit me. Man, if I go back a couple of generations, we weren't even allowed to own shares of basically what fuels our world.
All you gotta know and realize is that a group of white men called trustees was able to walk off with $53 million out of the Freedmen's Bank scot-free, which would have been over $1 trillion.
And y'all talking about ownership?
B. Austin put me down with that. Tobias, have you ever read the story of the Freedmen's Bank?
I never read it. I gotta read that. I'll probably read it this weekend. I got some time this weekend. B. Austin is actually the person that put me down with that. I went and looked it up after he told me to. And I read a couple books on it. When I read a couple books on it, I just got a state of depression for a week because I had never heard the story. But just look up
he was in a state of depression because he would have had his own bank to go do his real estate investing with his folks. And these are the types of stories that will place culpability and accountability at the feet of the dominant culture. So the Freedmen's Bank, and we got to move on because I know our listeners are like, what happened to the sport? But to buy it, there was a bank that accepted the deposits of ex-slaves. And by the early 1880s, they had amassed $53 million in deposits, which was the equivalent in today's currency of, close to $1 billion. But $53 million. Now, on that board, I'm sad and sorry to say, because he's the namesake of my alma mater, but General Howard, who is the namesake of Howard University, was one of the leading members and trustees on the board. They started making a ton of loans to white businessmen who just defaulted and didn't pay the loans back. So they essentially stole $53 million from these ex-slaves, which assisted with the calculation.
They ran off on the plug twice. That's what they did.
They ran off on the plug twice.
The sister did it. Taking my call.
Oh man, you got it, brother. The sister did a calculation, and $53 million paying 3% simple interest would be $783 million as of 2017.
Damn. But you guys have a good one, man, and y'all take it easy, man.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for your call. Good brother.
All right, peace, brothers.
Peace.
Shout out to Daryl Morey, man.
Yeah, he let us get off on our pontification game, man. You know, we get in here and get in our bag, man. Got a couple calls, but before we get in there, I got to get your thoughts on a couple stories. First off is Richard Lee, because I was getting ready to say somebody else Lee. But Richard Sherman, right? Richard Sherman, I don't know if you heard about what happened this past game where his Niners beat up on the Browns. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit, like what's going on with the Browns. But specifically in this game, after the game, he was being interviewed, right? So Richard Sherman says, and this is the quote, "What's amazing and annoying was him not shaking hands in the beginning." And he was talking to Michael Silver of NFL.com, and he was talking about Baker Mayfield. Here's what he said, back to the quote. "Some college, it's ridiculous. We're all trying to get psyched up, but shaking hands with your opponent, that's NFL etiquette. If you pull Bush League stuff, that's disrespectful to the game. And believe me, it's going to get fired up." That's what Rick Sherman said about Baker Mayfield. Baker was like, yo, I did shake his hand. I have no idea what he's talking about. But the fact is, people don't like Baker Mayfield, so they thought that Richard Sherman was like, telling the truth.
I was one, Jimmy. I was one of them. I ran with it.
Yeah. So, but then the footage came out, and he was lying. I don't even know why he was lying though. I don't even understand what he was trying to get at.
Yo, I was so mad at Richard Sherman that I hoped he didn't make it to the future. This was absolutely ridiculous because Baker Mayfield is almost the epitome of white privilege in sports, and he gets away with disrespecting everyone. Richard Sherman, Baker Mayfield doesn't need any help. He's going to do it on his own. He's going to alienate himself, and he is going to be humbled and either be out of the league or find himself a way to change his perspective to be more humble. He doesn't need your help in doing so. I think that Richard Sherman is so thirsty for the limelight that he just made up a story to be able to get in front of the camera and in front of the microphone and talk his ish. And it really hindered and hurt his credibility because I've always thought of Richard Sherman as a very intelligent and articulate person who's insightful, who has good thoughts and isn't afraid of taking the controversial position. But this, super disappointed in dude, man, because he is an attention whore as well. Not cool, bro. Not cool. Cut your locks, B.
Yeah, what's the point though? Was it just to get attention?
But because it's an easy target, and everything that I just said, and you will probably say with regards to who Baker Mayfield is, will be the position that Richard Sherman takes about him. But at the end of the day, you discredited yourself by being a liar and a fraud. So now you can't point your finger at Baker Mayfield. We pointing it at you because you a liar and a fraud. Cut your locks, B.
Yo, that the whole story to me was just crazy. Maybe somebody weigh in and shout to Neil and Scavy, always holding the chat room down. We appreciate you and love you guys. Scavy says Richard Sherman is hating. He said that's a good point. Scavy said he hasn't heard Richard Sherman's name till just now, like since Seattle. So, and that's what Neil said. Yeah, he's just trying to get attention. So I think all you guys are on to something because that's a good point, Scavy. Because I really haven't heard his
clout
name.
Chasing.
As mentioned with San Francisco, but I also think Richard Sherman really be when he plays football, he has to put on a persona.
Because he ain't really that dude.
The whole thing. Yeah, I think that he's a different person off the, so he has to psych himself up and put on almost like a wrestler. If you remember that whole situation,
Jimmy, I agree. I agree with that 100%. I agree. I think Richard Sherman is naturally a nerd. I think he's a nerd and an unassuming guy that happens to be blessed with physical talent.
The game a couple of years ago, he was in Seattle and they were playing the Niners and he knocked the ball down at the end of the game. He said, "Don't you ever put a sorry receiver like Crabtree on me?" And he was talking like Hulk Hogan or something. And he was in character.
he was shooting a Mean Gene Okerlund snippet.
Yeah, he was doing a wrestling promo, and I'm like, maybe that's what he has to do in order to play football. I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's what it is. Shout out to T Mac who just said Casey Mack.
Nah, boy, liar, man. Boy, liar.
Casey
got caught.
Sherman has been relevant until this situation. So maybe that's what's going on. I guess all you guys have got it right. That's what's going on with him. So Ben Simmons' pointer, which was brought up by Tobias, you kind of already weighed in on that in terms of have to watch out whether it'll hurt his team. But did you see the actual response? That video, it was a bar in Philly, and they showed the 3-pointer on, and people started celebrating the Sixers won a championship. I thought that was one of the more funny videos. But that was
where the game is.
Yeah. We got a couple calls in line. Before we get to them, I'll give you two more quick things. One more thing before we start bringing callers on, and that's Shaq and Dame round 2. Shaq dropped the song, Dame dropped the song. Did you hear any of them? And if so, what did you think?
I heard Dame's. I still got to get to Shaq. I've heard from third party that Shaq stepped his game up now. Shaq ain't dead no more.
No, Shaq's still dead, but Shaq is cheating though. Shaq is picking popular beats that you gonna like anyway. Like those beats that Shaq picked, like you could, like anybody can rap over, and you know what I'm saying. And you know, but that's either here or there. Shaq dead though, so we can move on from that. Shaq is dead. We got a couple calls on. Rob's waiting for a minute. Let's bring Rob in from Cali. We got another. We're gonna get our calls in line before we move on. Rob, what's up, good brother?
Yo, what's good, babe? It was good to be back, man. Rob, a.k.a. So lays in the place with style and grace. Yo, it's your boy Big Rob, a.k.a. Your fight lands at 8, my fight lands at 9, my game just for wine. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Yo, Rob came on the John quoting Biggie. Yo, it's a good day.
Rob out there, like he's in the shot. He letting the ladies know he's willing to pay. But listen, Rob, real quick though, what's the weather like out there, man? Because it's getting cold out here on the east, man. What's the weather like out there?
76 degrees, and I'm wearing short sleeves. Oh, that rhymes. Hey.
Okay. I'm hating. What's up though? What you want to talk about?
Oh man. First of all, shout out to y'all and that country clown you got on there. He made some good points, man. I mean, I do want to say this, that we should support black businesses that support black folk. And I will also say support churches that support black folk, support black institutions, support black folk. Because a lot of us, even me, I get caught up in like, okay, like, in the symbolic representation, and we shouldn't get caught up in that all the time. I mean, we have grandfathers who will always tell us all the time in baseball. I know if you got baseball heads, they always tell us all the time that Jackie Robinson was not the best black baseball player they had. He was a good representation because he was in the military. He'll put up with that, and he was college educated too. I forgot that he went to UCLA. So yeah. Hello.
That's a good point. He wasn't better than Satchel. He wasn't better than Satchel Paige.
Or even Josh Gibson. Or even Josh Gibson. Yeah.
Word.
So basically, what you're saying is sort of like Barack Obama, that he had to Never mind. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, he was picked. He was picked. Technically, Martin Luther King was picked, but the problem that they found with Martin Luther King is that he could think for himself. You know what I'm saying? He could actually think for himself. He's a black man that could think for himself. But, you know, that's all I want to say. Support black business. If we're going to get in the political process, we have to do the same thing and hold those black institutions accountable. Meaning, if you're meeting with, like, let's say, a candidate like a Kamala Harris, and she goes to your church, and you're allowing her to speak and you're endorsing her, people should boycott and not go to that church. Wait.
Kamala's about taking it out of our community, what value is there, and taking it to the other communities, man. Don't be fooled.
That's true. Even, but I'm talking about accountability. Like, okay. If I'm going to get to sports, even with when it comes to reparations, which I do think in cash reparations, I think it should be more than cash. It needs to be land. It needs to be something substantial, you know, especially with the way the economy is moving, where it's going to be more technological than ever. So we need something substantial to help us. But I'm talking about hold accountable. That's why I understand that. That's another conversation. But yeah. But anyways, I want to say what's good. The Dodgers let us down. You know, LA is really sad right now. The Dodgers let us down. So fire everybody. I don't care. It's just ridiculous. But
just fire everybody.
I'm not being serious. I'm not being serious. But, you know,
Is Magic still involved in the Dodgers?
He's still a minority owner at this point. He was a good figurehead to get the name. I don't know. Everybody likes Magic. People, I don't know why. He's just one of them brothers. He just like glows. You know what I'm saying?
You wasn't outside when Magic was doing his thing. If you was outside when Magic was in his prime, you understand why. Like, I understand why Magic is revered the way he is, but you know, at the end of the day, if we really want to talk about his success, one of the things that's admirable to me about Magic is the fact that Magic is willing to put his hat in the ring and try pretty much everything. But if you really think about it, Magic fails more than he succeeds at pretty much anything. You know what I'm saying? Outside of being a basketball player, he pretty much failed at a lot of other stuff. But he's willing to keep trying, though. That's why I give him credit. Cause my man said, give me a talk show. It was the worst talk show I ever seen in my life, but he was willing to put his hat in the ring. Yo, let me go be in the studio with the NBA. It was absolutely dreadful. Let me run the Lakers.
Yo, but he kept trying. Yo, let me be a dad to a son. It didn't work out, but he got it off a couple of times.
Come on. So we really gotta go there. How about Joe Jackson? But anyways, I'm gonna talk about child abusers. But anyways,
what
about him? That's another conversation about parenting, but moving on. The Lakers. He brought LeBron to the Lakers. That's the only thing.
Bring LeBron's coming to the Lakers regardless.
No,
part of that don't y'all understand, man. Stop giving that man credit for that.
What part you don't understand that? Okay. Moving on. I didn't like the first game with Anthony Davis. That he was taking outside shot. I think he took a 3. Listen, man, his butt needs to be to the basket, and he needs to post up. He's not a freaking.
Not in 2019.
Oh Lord!
I was about to say, what you think this is? 6? He need to go post up. What year is this? Who posts up in 2019?
He's not like Okay. Listen, Joel Embiid. I understand him taking outside shots because he got bad knees. He's one injury away from retirement.
I don't. That's worse than Anthony Davis taking them.
Why?
You
Why?
That one, cuz.
Do you want him to bank up and get hurt? Come on now.
He's the strongest player in the league.
Joel Embiid has never been a wing player. Anthony Davis has been a wing before. He's played on the edge, so it makes sense that he still has skill despite the height. Joel Embiid has never been a wing player. He's never put the ball on the floor, and now all of a sudden he's changed his game to be able to chuck up three.
You lost me with that one, but the game has changed, man. A lot of you cats out here talking about you got to go post up, that's not the game no more. The game ain't played that way. The rules don't even lend themselves to people putting their ass in a box and sitting there backing people down. Those days are gone.
Nah, in order for Lakers to be effective,
listen, I'm balanced. I'm somewhere in between. I do believe that you should have an effective post game and footwork, but I'm not mad at somebody expanding their game and saying, "Yo, I could hit the tray, I could go to the block, I could play the mid post, I could do it all." So I'm not mad at Anthony Davis. And at one point in time, as I said, he did play on the wing, so he has ball skills to be able to.
But we also have to acknowledge that the rules have changed. The rules don't prohibit you to do some of the things you used to do when we had great players.
You can't back somebody down, but you can still catch and do moves at the post. You can still dominate on the block.
Yeah, you catch on the block. You got about 3 seconds for you to make a move. But go ahead though.
That's all you need to take. Like I know Paul Gasol played some on the outside a little bit in a triangle to where he could shoot from the 18-19. I have no problem with that. But on the wing, oh come on, man, come on. But anyways, that's my thing about the Lakers. I don't like what I see right now, but talent will develop. I don't know why they have KCP on the team. He's pathetic. Kick him off. I don't want him. Why they let him keep him over Lonzo Ingram?
The Lakers gonna be cool till they run up against the Claw.
The Claw? Who's the Claw? Oh, man, we'll beat that monotone coward. Okay, that's all I gotta say. But anyways, man.
All right, Ryan, we gotta get out of here though.
Wait. I want to say this real quick about my Eagles. I hope they do trade for Odell Beckham Jr.
Why?
Hello?
Why?
I mean, because I heard there's rumors of them showing interest. Well, because our offense is not really explosive as it was 2 years ago. Partly because
hold on. I'm confused. I'm confused always. People like I have these diva receivers. We got to go trade for this receiver. They don't win championships.
Just say yes. They don't win championships. Receivers that demand to rock that way, and receivers that put up highlights and great numbers, they don't win championships.
Yo,
yes.
if we all agree that Jerry Rice, T.O., and Randy Moss are the top three, only one of them has a chip.
Yo, who's the Eagles? Eagles just won a championship a couple years ago. Who's the best receiver?
And who were their receivers? Who?
I mean,
nobody,
Jeffrey,
nobody, and nobody.
So why do they need all that back? Come on,
Nelson Aguilar was a best slot receiver that year. He's regressed. I don't really trust him right now. You can.
He's an African.
Rob, you've been using too much CBD oil, good brother. Because some of the points you I don't know what you're talking about, man. Anyway, it's time for us to get out of here, man. We got to move on from this call because we got a couple more calls, man. Rob, we'll holler at you, good brother.
Appreciate you, bro.
Also, please talk about Kaepernick's lawyers that put out that statement right now, please.
Yeah, peace. We got another call on the line. I think this is the homie Naj calling in, man. Let's get the Naj.
My man said we need to trade for Odell Beckham.
Oh, what? Naj, what's up, homie?
Oh, what up, y'all? What up? Yeah, well, the only
man?
problem with that is, I'm good, man. The only problem with that is, why the hell would Cleveland trade him to Philly for late first-round picks or second-round picks?
Yeah.
Philly's not picking high. Why would you trade Odell there? And the
funny thing is, football fans in 2019, they just like a player. They be like, "Yo, let's go trade and get him." Like trades don't even make sense. It's like you. Yeah. It's like football cards. Yeah, I like him. We should go trade for him.
But we got to throw away some of our fathers and grandfathers' stat stuff. If you run the ball 20 times, you're more likely to win. And this position doesn't. No, in football, you win with good players on good teams. So you can't really say, oh, well, this team didn't have a number one wide receiver when they won, so therefore number one wide receivers are obsolete. No, each team is a puzzle and it's built differently. And if you just happen to have a number one wide receiver with a good quarterback, that works perfectly. But I
personally believe that fat men up front win football games. I don't believe any of the skill positions, whether it's running back,
sometimes
give
not. But you need
good players. Good quarterback.
A team that doesn't have them.
Give me a good quarterback, talented line play, and I think you can fill the rest in.
Naj, if you have a dominant D line and a dominant O line and a good QB, you have a team that is always in contention. Never mind how good the skill positions are.
Okay. God damn it. Man, I hate having to do this. All right, let's do this. Let's say you draft O-lineman and D-lineman. The majority of them aren't going to work out. Some of them are going to work out and are going to be what you projected them to be. So the idea that it's so easy to just build up the D-line and O-line and then
no. We never said easy. We never said it's easy to do that.
I never said it was easy.
Okay.
I never said it was
easy. This is not only unrealistic, it's highly unlikely to happen. Philly has a really good O-line right now. The D-line, we thought it was going to be great, but it's not. They got secondary problems, and, they got receiver issues. But Alshon Jeffrey is a legit number one when healthy. Problem is he's never healthy. So, I mean, you deal with it how you deal with it. I don't want to get caught down the morose of this, though, man. To the last brother, please never say MLK was chosen from other people. MLK was chosen by who? The Pullman Porters Association and other trade unions before the formation of SCLC, and this was done by black folks. He was not chosen from the outside. Please don't smear that man's name like that. Look in the king a little more. The things that y'all hit on today, man, y'all laid a lot out, so I don't even want to weigh in because it could get depressing. But, man, y'all was hitting up some heavy points. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Tobias. Shout out to Tobias. The only thing I would recommend people do is, I know Coach got a lot of flack for this, but just revisit that case for reparations from Coach. And the thing that you'll see in there is generational plunder. Most people always focus on discrimination. Oh, they couldn't do this or they couldn't go there. they don't focus on the generational plunder, meaning the wealth and value that they had stored up every generation. Being wiped out and starting over. Like that's the real crux of American history when you talk about black folks in America. Generational plunder. That's the thing to look at. Ran away from the South in the Great Migration, came to the North, and had to buy homes on contract. Where if you miss the payment, your home can be taken from you. You got to start over again. Like this.
Now, if you could expand on one thing, you made a great point. So generational plunder, and then you pointed to the fact that discrimination really, I don't want to say it wasn't a big deal, but it was almost like integration. Well, I'm not saying almost like integration hurt more than it helped, and it helped. Integration helped perpetuate generational plunder. It helped perpetuate.
Yeah, but then we have to start talking about the Black Bourgeoisie, E. Franklin Frazier's book that is still relevant to this day. Check that book out.
That's a read.
Yeah, it's heavy, but it gets into exactly what he just hit on. And like if you really look at that era and say integration, like I hate Malcolm Gladwell. He's a raggedy scholar, does terrible work. But there's one good podcast he has on Brown versus Board where he talks about the family that was used, the Brown family. They said, we actually like our school. We have teachers who are overqualified because they can't work in universities. People with PhDs were teaching in middle and high school. So they were talking about our schools are good. We're talking about being denied access to other things and our schools getting the resources they needed. But the case was presented as we want to be around them and give up our stuff. And immediately after it was passed, guess what? Those black teachers were not hired and didn't integrate into the other schools, which goes into the plunder issue. Mm-hmm. People with PhDs out here having to go work next to their brethren who didn't even get a high school education. And now you tell me how that people, the next generation, values an education. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're working in the same factory I'm working in and you got a PhD. Like that's how critical it was during that period.
You put up a couple good points. There's a couple books people should check out. There's one called Family Properties, which details specifically how they would use those lease home contracts to take advantage of it.
Beryl Satter, the author of the book, her father was one who sold those homes on contract. So
okay, so you're down with it already. You're already down with that. That's a good one. And really the other one is The Color of Law. A book called The Color of Law breaks down how real estate was used as a tool of oppression. Those are the first two things. Second thing is, it's interesting to see your thoughts on Malcolm Gladwell. Because I'm not going to lie, I used to be a huge fan of Malcolm Gladwell. I liked a couple of his books, but I just read his most recent book. And his most recent book has me looking at his whole career like sideways. Some people like it, but I
brother, look, you ain't the only one. I fell for it too early on. And then, later on it started people like, oh, okay, this dude's a con man. He's an interesting fat guy.
I read his most recent book and some of the parallels and conclusions he tried to draw has me looking at him like, yo, I was getting ready to put you on my table of God. You trash. But so it was interesting.
I think you trash.
Hey, but as we get older, we're supposed to expand,
Yeah, and I've actually listened to that podcast you're talking about. So I heard that specific podcast it's called Revisionist History, and it was on that Brown versus the Board of Education. So I definitely heard that as well. You're the first person I've mentioned Family Property to that I read the book. That's fire. So you're a well-read brother. But
man, this book is really good and will piss you off. Dude, just look up buying homes on contract. When most people read about buying homes on contract, a lot of the older folks in your family who you probably didn't know what they were up against and what they went through, you might have a little more sympathy for them. Now, the thing that we miss a lot when we talk about black folks, especially, just us in general, we don't talk about class enough. And that's a huge dynamic that leads to the Black Men's Leadership class that we have now, the people who think representation matters more than actual tangible things. And we got a dynamic to where 1% of Black America owns 70% of black wealth. Like you always hear about the 1%ers. Okay, go to the black distribution of that, and it's even worse. 1% owns 70% of black wealth. Now that's a damning statistic for any people. So if anybody wants to get into it, check it out. Cornell talks about that a lot. And, he wishy-washy, but sometimes you roll with him.
They all wishy-washy. But I tell people all the time, though, in the comment I was having with Tobias earlier, a lot of times we look for that prominent figure when we should, like look in the mirror and look around us, man, because you start to study your family and friends, and you realize, like, I'm looking to these celebrities, but my family is trash or my friends are trash. Like, so, we got a lot of work.
Which is a recent development, too, though, because you got to remember, all of these movements require what? Bodies. These weren't things where we fell into this Eurocentric idea of the great man or great woman theory. Like, they weren't doing that. None of these people would have been effective without the movements of the people who were with them. So, like, when people sit up here and say, oh, well, this man did this. Look, man, when it comes to black folks, you're talking about group dynamics and people pushing forward as a group. Now, how the wealth is distributed afterwards, where they try to make it singular and individualistic, that person only got that spot because of what? Group fighting. All of the things that we talk about.
Yeah.
Black people fight for a doctor. He says, well, I don't necessarily agree with them. And then he becomes, the official of public health or something like that. And he thinks he did it. He thinks the position is based on his brilliance as opposed to people advocating and pushing and fighting for it. And that's working class regular folks. So let me get off my damn soapbox because I already know I'm going too far. We ain't even touch sports. We ain't even touch sports, so my bad on that.
A lot of fire points, though. We appreciate your call, man, as always, man. And, salute to you, man. Just because you read Family Property,
salute
man.
To the show, man.
I'm hyped by that.
We appreciate it, man. Y'all boys do good work. Salute to the show.
Hit
Y'all
us up
do
next
good
week,
work,
brother.
For sure.
All right, we appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. All right, salute. Peace. Yeah, man. Oh, man, a lot of fire points. Everybody's on fire tonight, except for Rob. Rob is on that sticky or something because, Rob is Rob.
Rob went to the dispensary. He went to the dispensary.
Yeah, Rob is Rob, but today he was even on something else, man. He was sticky or something. Quick, though, everybody knows they can get in touch with us, War Room Sports, warroomsports.com. Real quick, while you were on the grind, I got to talk about what happened real quick while you were on the grind, and that's brought to you by Sports the Book. The bottom line is you can get it at sportsthebook.com or warroomsports.com. But a couple quick things I want to talk about that happened past week while you were on the grind. Yo, man, did you hear the story about Errol Spence, the welterweight champ? You hear the story about him today? What happened to him today?
Yeah, I heard he was in the Aventador and had a bang out.
Yeah, he was speeding in his Ferrari allegedly in Dallas. I saw a video of it. His Ferrari flipped over, and they're saying that he's in critical condition, but he's stable now allegedly. So we'll see what happens long term. But I don't know what it means for his career or anything. But my man just made a couple M's a couple weeks ago, and then this happened. So get well to Errol Spence, man, one of the best young fighters in the business. Man, that's tough, doggy. I don't want to say nothing because I don't want to get into the whole thing of victim blaming, man. But a lot of y'all got to chill with these sports cars and driving at like 150 miles an hour. Like, y'all got to chill, man.
That ain't victim blaming. That's common sense.
Okay, no doubt. Let me see, because I know Casey Mack had something about that. He heard about the wreck when it happened this morning, but he didn't know it was him. So Casey Mack is actually out there. He's a firefighter, so he said he had heard. I don't know whether he was on the scene or not, but he's the one that told us the story early this morning. On a lighter note, man. Did you see these Nike shoes that just sold? They're calling the Nike Jesus shoes. So this designer got a pair of Nike Air Max 97 from back in the day. He put a Jesus piece like on the where the actual shoestring is, and at the Nike the Air Max has like the bubble in it, right? My man got some water from the River Jordan, which was also blessed. It was blessed by a priest in Brooklyn. And had it inserted into the bubble, so it's literal holy water in the bottom of the the Nike Max, and them sold for $4K. So you're literally walking on water when you walk on them, literally. Y'all sneakerheads gotta chill, cuz y'all sneakerheads is out of pocket, yo.
Oh, Phil gonna try. Never mind, yo. Never mind.
Yo. Phil probably got a pair, but y'all sneakerheads definitely got to chill, man. Just give me a pair of New Balance 990s and say FOH with all that walking on water nonsense, man. So I mean, what you think about that, man? You in the sneaks? Would you have spent $4K to be walking on walking on some holy water?
No, first of all, I ain't spending $4K on those sneakers. Second of all, yo, based on my spiritual beliefs, there's a little bit of blasphemy somewhere in there. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Okay. But no, sneaker culture is really out of pocket, man. Sneaker culture is really out of pocket, man. Like, some of the stuff I see online, I'm like, yo, they definitely out of control. And yo, my man traveled to get the water from the River Jordan just to be able to put this play together, and it actually worked. That's the funniest thing about it is, yo, you can't even knock it because he got 4. It actually worked. My man got 4 cray out of that, man. The sneaks themselves, the actual the 97 Air Max, the sneaks themselves only cost like $150. So look at the value he had by taking that trip. How much you think it cost for him to travel over there and get that water? He made a pretty penny.
He dropped about $1,500 to make that happen.
Hey, listen, man, I do that every day if I could drop 15 and make 4 every day. But that's either here nor there, man. But we'll get some quick birthday shout-outs before we move on because, we got to move on and talk about a couple stories. But and I'm not even going to go too deep into these birthday shout-outs because they really trash, to be honest with you. But we definitely want to get these birthday shout-outs. So shout out to Troy Tulowitzki, Pat Burrow, Yankee R.A., Brett the Interception Favre, Derek McKee, and Brett Perryman. You know what I mean, on their birthday week. Trash birthdays, but I just want to make sure we get the way. But for those who want to check out our website at warroomsports.com to call in and speak with us about any of today's topics that we talked about thus far, you can dial the Digital Extreme Technologies hotline. That's 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, just press 1. If you want to talk, shout out to Anil and Scott. You always holding the chat room down. We definitely appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? But it's time to get into some football talk real quick, be awesome. And this NFL talk is brought to you by Digital Extreme Technologies Hotline. Do you or your business need a custom website? Absolutely you do. Yo, let me ask you an honest question. If you were looking up a business that you had never done business with before, an organization, and you Googled them and they had no website, would you still do business with them?
No, man. That's like going for these emails that tell you they're going to wire you $3.2 million because your relative died in the sweaty jungles of Cameroon. Can't do that, man.
Oh, you
got to have a website.
The Hakeem Olajuwon, the one that Hakeem Olajuwon be turning out? Listen, man.
All
I'm saying,
you got to have a website, man. You got to be legit.
2019, you got to do the custom website. Hit up Digital Extreme Tech at digitalextremetech.com or call 333-410-0012 and say, look, you're heard from War Room Sports. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to get a discount. But let's talk some football real quick, good brother. Yo. I just want a little bit of that rock because that's like some of the most dramatic music ever. It's football music, you know what I'm saying? But yo, real quick though, first thing I want to start with is America's team. You know what I'm saying? The Dallas Cowboys. What do you think about the Cowboys in their most recent performance? That's like back to back. And a couple of weeks ago, people were talking about the Cowboys as it relates to a championship, and all that kind of stuff. What do you think about how the Cowboys looking thus far?
They were never as good as advertised, and they're not as bad as the overreaction that's being made of these two losses. They're somewhere in the middle, and the reality being, listen, dude, Dak Prescott just isn't good. Dak Prescott isn't good. The defense is a little overrated, and they don't give Zeke the ball enough. So they're 9-7, 10-16.
Yo, interesting you said what you said, right? Because I was with you. Then you lost me a little bit because I think that what you said about the Cowboys also rings true for their quarterback. I don't think they're as good as people made them out to be. I don't think they're as bad as people are making them out to be now. But I think that's the thing for Dak. Because even in that performance, right, and I watched the game, Dak, like he threw a couple of picks. I feel like one of them was really his fault. The other one, the receiver, like, receivers, it's a lot of receivers doing it this year too, like putting their hands up, touching the ball, and let it bounce off their hands. Like some of these dudes are soft these days or whatever, but pause. But a lot of them weren't his fault. But also, I don't think he was as good as people made him out to be the first couple weeks when he had to play the Dolphins and he looked like Joe Montana. Like, I don't think he's as good as somewhere in between. I think he and the Cowboys are one and the same. Like, we have to see how they look as the season progresses. But I think they're both just average quarterback, average team. That's my take.
I'll go with average.
You know?
I'll go with average. I think he's that, but that particular game in question, he threw 2 picks. The third, we'll give him the benefit. The first pick to Amari, and I've seen multiple, both former and present receivers speak on this, ball placement. As a professional thrower of the football, you have to lead your receiver, put that ball out in front, and take him up the field so that he can score or have an opportunity to outrun the coverage. You don't have somebody running full speed, throw the ball behind them, and make them open up their hips. Now, granted, there's culpability on both cases because Amari needs to make that catch since he's getting $13 million a season. But Dak was wrong for where he placed that ball. That ball was off. It was an inaccurate throw. The other throw, my man, when you don't know the coverage is zone coverage and you think you're facing man, you're an average quarterback. You're an average quarterback. He didn't realize the coverage he was facing pre-snap, and hence the reason that he threw that pass. But not just the interceptions. There were a couple of bad or errant throws in that game where he threw it to a worm that was coming out of the turf and not the receiver. Listen, I don't believe that Dak is a bum by any stretch. I believe there are 32 starting quarterbacks. Dak is somewhere ranked. His ranking is somewhere between 13th and 18th, depending on the given day. And that's who he is.
I think that he's also still young enough where he can come into that top 10. That's the thing. Like, people's clocks in the NFL now is just like, yo, they don't get no time to progress and become what they could possibly become. It's interesting, especially when you look around the league and see such young quarterbacks and guys getting thrown in right away. To watch the way the game has progressed as I've been, watching sports my life, is just very interesting. Like, Dak's still a young quarterback, relatively young. You know what I mean? Like, but, we'll see. What do you think of the Cleveland Browns? I mean, we heard the Browns were back. I don't know what they were back to or back from, but they started off a little slow. Then they won a couple of games, and people on the bandwagon. Baker Mayfield, OBJ, Nicky Chubb, the whole nine. And what do you think about the Browns, though?
Throughout my illustrious playground and intramural basketball career, I've had the privilege and pleasure of playing with a number of professional basketball players. Some in pickup environments, some in pro-am leagues. I've seen professionals. And the thing that most people are impressed with is the athleticism, right? But to be truthful and honest, we all know multiple guys that have the athleticism to play a professional sport. The thing that separates pros is their meticulous attention to detail and the development of their skill or the skill set necessary to dominate. It's not always, I would even say in most cases, it's not the athleticism. The athleticism, true, is usually far above the average human being. And in the case of guys like OBJ, far above the average, even professional athlete. But that's not what makes the greats. The greats is the attention to detail, the nuance Cleveland has cobbled together a bunch of tremendous athletes and talent. But them dudes don't know how to be professional. OBJ is not concerned about developing into, keeping it 100, an Antonio Brown level of route runner, because he has the skill and the ability to run immaculate routes. But he's lazy with his route running. He's lazy. I feel that he doesn't focus on that. Baker, instead of concentrating on his craft, is busy making commercials, busy clout chasing in the media, looking to make sound bites and hot takes. Javar is just trying to get his money, man. And he got that rapport with Baker. Yo, throw me the rock 10 times, and if you don't, I'm going to see you in the bathroom. Pause. The other guys, Nick Chubb, he's kind of a quiet dude. He probably doesn't make much in the way of waves. He don't get the rock enough. The big super Vernon Davis, freaky athletic African brother that plays tight end, tremendous athlete, tremendous. Maybe the best athlete on the offense. He's sometimey. He's there, he's not there. Callaway, he said, yo, I run a 4.3 so I can get high as much as I want. Let me hit the trees. I don't know. I see a lot of talent. But I don't necessarily see the professionalism, and that is what Cleveland is going to suffer from. If it all goes to hell in handbasket based on the pride and the egos, they could end up still with a losing season. If it stays where it is, I can see them being an 8-8, 9-17, which would be disappointing based on the talent and athleticism and the expectation that the rest of us heaped on them based on that talent and that ability. But I don't see them being a true winning football team. And by true winning football team, I mean you win 10 or more games. I don't see that. I see them falling to 8-8. I see them falling to 7-9. I see them getting 5 to 7 wins off of that talent, because there are teams that they are just going to overwhelm with talent. And on a great day, they're capable of being as athletic and explosive and offense as anybody else in the league. But on a bad day, OBJ is being OBJ, a female. Baker is busy talking his ish. Defensively, Baker turns the ball over too much and has his defense hung out to dry with a lot of short field situations. The coach, Freddie Kitchens, first-time NFL coach, not sure he's handling it that well. So, yeah, those are all the things I see with the Browns. So I see them ending up as a team, a super talented, mediocre NFL team.
Wow, that's crazy considering, it's not really crazy. They're the Browns. That's what they're supposed to do. But there was a lot of hype. And when they won a couple games, man, you couldn't tell people nothing. You know what I mean? Now, I got to get your take on this, because you have a lot of friends who root for this team, and that's the Washington Professional Football Team. And what do you think about what happened with them and, their head guy and how they treated him when they were, key to the offensive work?
When I get involved in these conversations, I'm going to spit vile venom, foul, and filth based on the rivalry. But I'm going to just step back and keep it 100. Like, I'm not even coming from a place of being an NFC East fan, an Eagles fan. I'm just looking at objectively at a franchise. Daniel Snyder might be the worst owner in sports. It's between him and Dolan. He might be.
I was getting ready to say Dolan exists, doggy. Ever since that whole debate about the name of the team or whatever, it's like the team is cursed, man. Yeah. Ever since that whole thing came up, they ain't been able to prosper.
We can go there for friends. We can go there for the benefit of us because we were in the center of that. But to be honest, man, Bruce Allen is 47 That's Bruce Allen. That's the GM's record. What GM in any sport do you know can have that winning percentage and still have job security?
Yeah.
45 and 76. 45 wins, 76 losses over his tenure. Now, the reason that exists, Jimmy, is because the first 10 years of Daniel Snyder's tenure as owner, he wanted to be Gerald Jones. Listen, the Cowboys, thankfully, they embrace mediocrity, but nowhere near to the level of the Deadskins. Nowhere near to that level. The Cowboys have minor successes, and Jerry, to his credit, does know something about professional football and high-level football. So when he and Stephen Jones exercise their authority as team management and not just ownership, a lot of those decisions turn out okay. What people don't realize about the Deadskins is that Daniel Snyder, with no tenure and background in professional sports, he meddles. He's a meddler. So he meddles in the personnel decisions and the policies that roll out within the team, having no background or understanding of what he's doing. The initial 10 years, he wanted to do that and be out in the front. That didn't work for him. So he hired Bruce Allen to be the fall guy and to take all of the heat and to go to the press conferences and answer all the questions. Bruce Allen is an alcoholic, by the way, so when he gets up on the podium, he's already 3 seats to the win, so he just don't give a – no, that's real talk, doggy. Like, he don't give a F. Like, he's drunk, and he going to say what he going to say, and y'all going to say what y'all going to say, and my job is cool, and I'm getting, my millions a year. So Daniel Snyder doesn't take that direct heat, but he's still meddling in the personnel decisions, which means you have somebody with no football knowledge or background who's deciding on the people that take the field with minimal impact and input from the coach. And so he's sort of the same as Jerry, but he's a watered-down Jerry Jones because he knows far less about football than Jerry does.
Yeah. Okay. So you think that they won't be able to prosper until basically he's gone?
I'm thankful for him. As an Eagles fan, I'm thankful.
All right. Interesting. So Skyview has a point that he made. We talk about the worst owner. He said it is Dolan with that question. How does nobody want to play for the Knicks in the, quote, mecca of basketball, unquote? I only bring that up because I find it interesting because I think James Dolan might be worse because James Dolan is out there banning former players who were like fan favorites and beloved people. James Dolan don't even know how to take heckle. He bans season ticket holders from the games. Like he's out of pocket. But Scott, to your point, and I think it's interesting because I don't know if you saw this, B. Austin, but Kevin Durant was on Ebro in the Morning on Hot 97, and it actually this clip of his interview went viral when he talked about the Knicks. They asked him about coming to why he didn't consider the Knicks, and he said, to be honest, that the Knicks aren't what all these sports fans think they are. He said most cats in the league don't know the Knicks as being a winning team. He was like, even in his life, he knows the Knicks that won playoff long run to the finals or whatever. He said, but they've been losers. Like this whole thing of the Knicks aura doesn't exist. He was like, he talks to young players, and most of them would rather play for Clippers or Golden State or Brooklyn. They don't. Those are the popular hot teams. No one cares about the Knicks. That's old. And that clip kind of went semi-viral. So, what do you think about his take on the Knicks organization as it relates to today's young player?
I believe it's 105% correct. And the 100% is everything he said, and the 5% is what he didn't say, is the younger players actually laugh at the way the Knicks solicit them and try and get them to come play based on history and lore, and cats that are outside of the tri-state area don't even know about that and don't care. Like, it's everything that Durant said plus that 5% is like, yo, outside you're going to laugh at the names I give, but outside of Kyrie, J.R. Smith, maybe Melo, who had that experience, and a couple of other New York area guys, don't nobody know about the Knicks. They don't care about Willis Reed.
Yeah.
They don't care about Pat Ewing. They don't care about, you know what I'm saying, like Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley. They don't care about that. Some of these dudes weren't even alive when that was going down.
Yeah, you got cats now in the NBA. It's going to sound real crazy to say this. This cat's coming up in this season right now, and I want Skyview and Neil to pay attention to what I'm giving to say because it's going to sound real crazy. This upcoming NBA season, we're going to have players in the league that were born in the 2000s. How crazy is that?
Yo,
how crazy is this?
Yo, I quit.
That's crazy, but it's facts. It's facts.
I don't even know what I quit. I don't even know what I'm quitting, but I quit, yo.
Yo, it's going to be cats in the league that was born in the 2000s. That's absolutely crazy. Yo,
and Jamal Crawford's still out here dropping 50, though.
But it to me it's just interesting because like these old teams, like you can't rely on that. You have to get with the times, and you gotta, and, you know, as much as you want to be you would get off my lawn in order to compete. You got to understand what's going on, like with the demographics, man. These dudes want to play Fortnite and double tap stop picks. They don't care about Willis Reed. And I was thinking about it anyway, how overrated the Knicks are. If I said, listen, take every franchise in the NBA and put together a team of the players that have played for your team at their peak, right?
Mm-hmm.
And pick a 12-man squad. I don't even know if the Knicks would be one of the best teams. Of course, you want to have the Lakers, Celtics, Sixers, probably Pistons, Bulls. You'll have all those teams that have come up before you get any Knicks.
You're right.
Rockets.
You're right. I just don't want to pile. I don't want to pile on, but you're like the Knicks in a vacuum are overrated. Like let's erase the last decade. Let's erase pretend it didn't happen. Just look at the Knicks from 2009 back to their inception. They're not the storied franchise that they perceive themselves to be. They can't hold no weight. They can't hold no water to your franchise. They can't hold no water to Boston. They would talk that ish. They can't stand up to the Pistons, and they can't stand up to us.
They can't. If you take the actual best players, the Barkleys, the Dr. J's, the AIs, the Wilt Chamberlains. I'll say Wilt is over right there anyway. You take these players, the Moses Malone, take the players that have come through the franchise and played for that team. Like there's franchises that have had far superior talent, top to bottom. You start getting to teams like the Spurs, who no one wants to about. The Spurs, top to bottom, have far more talent that comes through there. So it's crazy when you think about it. Like so
basically, the analogy here with the Knicks would be our perception of Mike Quick is that he's nice, but you go everywhere else in the world, don't nobody know who Mike Quick was.
Yeah, they don't know who he is. But it's also a thing where, and Phil believes that everything in New York is overrated. I'm not going to slander the whole city or what have you because there's a lot of beautiful things in New York. You know what I mean? All the mommies out there, but it's a lot of good things in New York, a lot of beautiful restaurants, and I enjoy my time in New York. I enjoy Broadway. But when it comes to sports, and we're going to keep it sports related, we start talking about the Jets, Joe Namath, Knicks, their whole allure. I'll give you the, but outside of the Yankees, man, I don't know about New York, but we got to get out of here, man. Thank you, brother, for joining us for shout out to everybody who chimed in. We had an amazing show. We went deep off on a tangent, but it was definitely an enjoyable conversation. Shout out to everybody in the group chat, Twitter, Facebook. Shout out to people holding down the group chat, actual chat on Blog Talk. Skyview, we always appreciate you. Special thanks to Gus Griffin for coming through with those amazing picks. Tune in next week live right here. We're going to talk about what happened in Week 6 rather than what's going to happen in Week 7. Catch everything we do, as I always say, at our hub, which is warroomsports.com. Pick up my book, Sports the Book, at sportsthebook.com or warroomsports.com. But until next time, everybody, don't let mediocrity be steadfast in the war against ignorance, and we shall see you chumps on top.
sensitive, then oh well. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like magic and the block push. Listen live, push one to join in. Rip your team or listen for your enjoyment. Hip hop scholars, pit stop and knowledge. Should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Corporate secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC, royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy, Dez, PJ, Shot Bang, Lee Austin. I'm Jock. Up and coming on the beat.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.